This is Max Goldberg from Living Max. So I am here at Ginger Snaps Organic in the West Village in New York City, and I'm here with my very good friend Vani Hari. Great to see you, Vani. VaniHariFoodBabe.com, in case you didn't know. Great to see you.
Great to see you too.
It's always so much fun when you come up to New York City, and today especially because it's a very special day. You're launching your first book, The Food Babe Way, which is an amazing book. You sent it to me a few weeks ago, and I read it. And when I got it, I didn't know what to expect. And I was, as I called you that night, I said I was really blown away. And I'm not just saying this because you're my close friend, but it's a really important book. It talks about key issues, about what's going on in the food industry, and it also gives people the incredibly valuable information about how to really transform their life. So this book is really, it's spectacular.
Oh, thank you so much, Max. It really means a lot coming from you. You know, I've looked up to the work that you've been doing for so long, and just to have that kind of endorsement, it just is insane. So thank you.
Well, thank you. No, it's excellent. Okay, so let's talk about when you do your investigations, which you're known for. You investigate companies, investigating what's in their food. How do you pick which companies you go after? What's the thought process behind that?
Well, the majority of things that I write about are all personal reasons or personal stories that, get basically the idea comes from a friend or a family member. And I'll give you an example. With Subway, I had a coworker who would sling his plastic sleeve of sub on his desk every single day. His name's Wes. And he claimed that his boss made him go there because his boss liked to go there. And I just thought to myself, like, that is so processed. I know it's so processed. I really don't know what's in it though. And so it piqued my curiosity. And so I started to investigate that. I'd given up Subway long ago just because I stopped craving that processy bread type material that they were using, or that they are using. And what I found out was absolutely shocking, that they were getting away with using the words eat fresh, but they're really serving us a concoction of very man-made synthetic chemicals to make their sandwiches, to make some of their meats, to make some, even put preservatives on their vegetables. And so I really wanted to expose that. And I was contacting and campaigning Subway for almost 2 years before I started a petition. And a lot of people don't know that, but I first wrote about them a long time ago. And so doing the petition was just like this cry for help, like this basically, like, I want our voices heard. And thankfully they decided to remove a very controversial chemical that's banned in other countries, that other countries don't use it because it is linked to health issues, and inspired actually one of the biggest bakeries in the United States to also do it, as well as Pizza Hut and Olive Garden and so many other places. So it was a huge campaign, and huge organizations like the Center of Science and Public Interest and Environmental Working Group also had the same opinion about this ingredient and also lobbied for it. So it was great to have everybody's help.
Absolutely. So you literally went after Subway because a friend of yours was eating it, and that's how it came about. Yeah. Which brings me to another interesting point. You had tremendous success with Subway, but when you started off, the success was not as immediate as it is now. So can you talk about the impact of your campaigns and your investigations now versus when you started off? What are you seeing as the big difference in terms of the feedback from the companies?
Well, one of the things that a lot of people don't see is all of the things that happen in the background before I even launch a petition. In the background, I'm contacting the company, I'm calling them, I'm trying to find out directly from them if they're going to remove this substance or do something. And usually they either ignore me or they'll give me a standard PR response back. So I always give them the kind of heads up, hey, I'm coming. It's up to them if they really want to react. And now what I've seen is, with Kraft, they didn't really see, me coming, and so they really and the entire Food Babe army and all of the people who have signed that petition, which I think is over like 400,000 now or something, there's close to 400,000, and they didn't see
but Vani, they didn't see you coming to Chicago with 250,000 signatures?
No, they did not think I was going to go knock on their door in freezing cold weather and be in demand to come in. And what's so funny is, again, it was the entire Food Babe army. It was you. I remember you sharing on Facebook that day, call Kraft headquarters and tell them to let Food Babe in. It was people like you that really inspired other people to call and get me in the door. And I tell you, it took so much effort to get Kraft to start taking out those artificial food dyes. I mean, the first statement that they gave, I think, was something like, it's completely safe, it's FDA approved, and we know from looking at the studies and the data, there's nothing that has proven these things safe, these artificial food dyes. And so now it's, before it was, they're safe, now it's, they're safe, we'll take them out kind of thing, or we're in progress of taking them out, or we were always planning to take it out. They do not want to give credit to this movement. They are very, very worried and very scared, and they have now a standard PR response that they're using, because legally they can't say that we're taking this out because it was unsafe, because what if there's harm? So legally they have to say that, but I just kind of snicker to myself, and I'm really amused at some of the responses, because the thing is people at the end of the day, they want to trust these companies because they're eating them, they're feeding these products to their family. And if these companies can't even be as intellectually honest to tell us the truth, like, hey, we're going to take this out, we see the studies, then, I mean, how can we continue to trust these companies? And really, that's what I want to ask consumers, is like, who are the companies that are really providing nutrition for the consumers out there, and who really care about making us healthier instead of just improving their bottom line?
Yeah. So give me a quick hit. Let's talk about, really quickly, give me a few of the companies when you did campaigns and petitions, they made changes quickly and they said, you know what, we're going to improve our ways. We want to do things differently. Talk about the companies that, decided to change things quickly, where you can actually give credit for them to changing their ways.
Yeah, so one of them in particular, which still is today, I just shake my head at, is ChickfilA.
Right.
This is before I think I was known as the food babe, and being spotlighted in all of these mainstream media news stories and things. But, they really resonated with what I was writing about, and noticed that I was different, and noticed that I had a little bit of tenacity to what I was writing about. And it wasn't that I was just writing about what was in Chick-fil-A. I mean, the first article I wrote was Chick-fil-A or Chemical Filet. It was inspired, again, by my friends that, were unfazed by seeing the 100 ingredients of Chick-fil-A on a Facebook page. And I was like, well, I don't think they understand what these ingredients are, so let me break it down for them. So I wrote that article, but then I wasn't satisfied. I felt like a lot of people had been duped, thinking that Chick-fil-A was healthier than the alternative, when really they're serving the same exact ingredients: factory farmed meat, MSG, all the food additives, all the artificial food dyes, the high fructose corn syrup, all of it. And so I decided to go in and interview parents and ask them, why are you taking your children to Chick-fil-A?
You were interviewing them in the store?
That's right. I was going up to them while they were eating and asking them. I mean, who has the tenacity to do that for a story? Well, it was me, and I think Chick-fil-A really resonated with that. And so that's when they finally reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to come for a visit? We'd really like to speak to you about some of the changes we'd like to make and get your thoughts. And at first I was scared to death. I did not want to do it. I think of them as this is before I was a true activist full time, and this is while I'm still working in the corporate world. I knew I would have to take off from work, so I said to them, well, you can hire me as a consultant if I have to take off from work. And so they're like, yeah, sure, we'll just pay your hourly rate to come down. And so I did, and I tell you, it was the best decision I ever made, because that day I really did get to inspire the executives making the decisions at Chick-fil-A. And when they asked me what my number one priority was, they weren't expecting antibiotics in chicken. And we wrote it up on a whiteboard that day, and it was just such a beautiful thing when they finally made the announcement that they are going antibiotic free within 5 years, the first major big fast food chain to do that of that size. And
that's huge.
And it could really inspire the whole industry to do it, and just change the supply in this country. And the antibiotics issue is a very serious issue, and is one of the most pressing issues of our time when it comes to our food supply. So I was very excited to be even just a part of that. But it really, again, wasn't just me. It was all of these other people voicing their concerns and rising up and calling them and emailing them and going on their Facebook page and really showing these companies that, what, we want change.
Absolutely. Okay, Chick-fil-A you're happy with how they responded. Let's talk about one company in particular that you haven't been so happy with, where they're really not responding at all, not really changing their ways. Which company would you say is that?
Well, there's one in particular company that I'm just really puzzled at their response. And it's not that they're not responding, because they are responding to my emails behind the scenes, but it's Starbucks,
Starbucks.
Yeah. And you remember what happened when I wrote about Starbucks for the first time several years ago. I remember they weren't even responding to our investigation. And I remember we were sitting up late. I don't know if you remember this. We were sitting up late at night, and we were on their Facebook page, like basically posting this post and asking for an answer, and they kept deleting it over and over again, and it was really interesting. But they wouldn't respond to me back then, and then finally an inkling of hope came through early last year, where they reached out to me, heard that I was going to be on a national news program talking about their product, and invited me to the headquarters. And I said, wow, they really want to get a view into what the food movement is, and the voice of the organic consumers out here, and I really want to bring that to them. And then all of a sudden, I think everything that happened with Subway and so many other things, they just got scared, and they wrote back after going back and forth with dates and times and all of this stuff, and just said, you know what, we don't think this conversation is going to be productive. And that really was upsetting to me. One of my mottos is don't let anybody ever tell you no. And so I continued to push behind the scenes. I kept asking them about caramel color. I said, are you going to remove it? What's going on? Caramel coloring is in a majority of their Frappuccino and espresso drinks that are flavored. And this ingredient, first of all...
And for people who don't know, caramel coloring number 4 means what?
It's made with ammonia. It's artificially derived. It's not a natural ingredient, and it's considered a carcinogen by the International Agency for Research on Cancer, and a bunch of groups have studied it. The Consumers Union, very respected group, third-party group that has studied that and has lobbied to get it out, or at least regulated at the FDA level. And
so Starbucks is using a carcinogen, the caramel coloring number 4, in what's some of their products? Which is the most popular ones?
Pumpkin spice latte. Yeah, the pumpkin spice latte, their new chestnut latte, their mocha frappe. I mean, everything you could ever imagine down there. And what's so alarming about this is that they are one of the only companies of their size that don't put the ingredients online for their main drinks. If you go to Dunkin' Donuts, their competitor, their ingredients are listed right there on the label online so that you can find out what you're consuming. Starbucks does not do that.
And when you call Starbucks, the response they give you is, don't they give you the response as, well, it's too complicated, or we're in the process? What are the process of doing? What do they say?
They say they have a team in place to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I've been emailing them every single day since August, when they announced that in the USA Today, when the USA Today reporter interviewed Starbucks and asked him about this, and I have not gotten any inkling that there's been any progress.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And besides from that, Starbucks has been using Monsanto milk, correct?
That's right. Milk that is from cows fed a GMO diet, and GMO diet meaning everything from GMO corn, canola, soy, and even cottonseed. Cottonseed's not even regulated like a food in this country. It's regulated like a textile, so they can put many more toxic pesticides on it, and then that gets in. We get the cottonseed oil in our food, like Planters peanuts, for example, have cottonseed oil in it, and then the cottonseed meal goes to farm animals, which is really upsetting. So these animals are sick and are making us sick, frankly. And so we need to move towards organic milk. We'll have less pesticides, less herbicides in our environment as a result, and it'll be healthier for our environment, our land, our bodies, all around. And so we've been launching a campaign led by GMO Insight, and I've been part of that, to get them to serve organic milk. Just recently, they announced that they're going to have organic, I don't know if it's organic or not, but coconut milk available at all stores. And we looked at the ingredients, and you saw them, right?
Yes.
It's junk. It's not coconut milk. It's not the coconut milk that I drink it at home. It is a coconut milk that is completely processed. It's got an ingredient in it called carrageenan that the Cornucopia Institute has studied and researched and developed a huge report on, showing the risks associated with that ingredient, especially considering it's in an ingredient that you'll be consuming possibly every day. Mm-hmm. And there's this huge, market now of nut milks and these alternative milk products. And when carrageenan was approved for use, it was approved for use in a very small amount, and the FDA didn't know that it was going to be this widely used substance when they approved it. Now it's in everything.
Yep. Absolutely. So Starbucks has more work to do. They have not been that responsive. So Vani, I know you've been in town. You had a very cool interview with Deepak Chopra today, and I was there, and it was really fun to watch you do that interview. And this is a really big start for you and for the movement, because this book, I believe, The Food Babe Way, definitely go buy it. You will not be disappointed. I believe the Food Babe Way, not only is it the most important food book of the year, but it's going to be starting the most important food event of the year, because I think this book is going to raise awareness and of what is truly going on in the food system, as some that nothing has like no other book before. So I think this book is not only going to help people in their own personal lives, it's going to really do tremendous things in our movement and getting an increased awareness about what these food companies are up to, and most of them are up to no good, and they need to really change their ways. And it's working with you on all these activism campaigns and talking to you late at night and everything we're doing. It's been, it's just been an amazing experience to do this with you. And I'm so proud to be your friend and to see what you've produced with this. It's just really amazing to see. You're a big inspiration to me and to many, many people out there.
Thank you so much, Max.
Well, it's great to see you in New York. I want to see you more often, and we'll see you soon. Our next video, Expo West 2014, so stay tuned.
Yeah.
So we're coming to you from Ginger Snaps Organic in the West Village. Come by, they have awesome green juice. This is Max Goldberg from Living Maxwell. Just remember to buy well, eat well, and most importantly, live well. Thanks for watching.